Hello, thank you for asking me to speak to you today about this exciting subject of extended producer responsibility. This isn't my usual stomping ground, standing up and talking to rooms full of people, so apologies. Which one am I pressing?
Right.
So, extended producer responsibility. I'll take you through an introduction to EPR, who's affected, the new producer types, packaging definitions, the future requirements, the registration and reporting, payments and costs and data collection. So EPR, or Extended Producer Responsibility, will succeed the 2007 regulations, which we've been working with since 1997, with the first reporting year in 1998, so 26 years now. They seek to place the full net cost of packaging at the end of life onto companies referred to as producers. There is a change to who's obligated, and the amount and frequency of detail required is also being updated. For businesses, it's likely to be more complicated, and in some businesses, it can cost more as well. So full net cost, what we're looking at here is what DEFRA want covered from producers. That's the collecting, sorting, recycling, disposal, littering and communications for packaging when it's at the end of its life. The PRN system, which we had in the old regulations, which will roll into EPR, covers just the recycling element of this. The movement of the cost of household collections will move from councils or local authorities, so essentially government funded, to producers of obligated packaging. And the cost of businesses will be divided into two main sections of business waste and disposal fees. So the bit at the bottom is the recycling element for business waste, and that's PRNs, and all obligated packaging will require PRNs as offset. Where you are providing household packaging, there will also be the disposal costs or modulated fees. And it's considered that that could be up to 1.7 billion of funding that will be required to cover that. So who's affected? Right at this moment in time, any business that's a large producer, and that's anybody that handles more than 50 tonnes of obligated packaging and has a turnover above 2 million. So large producers should be reporting now. Small producers will begin reporting as an obligation only to report. That starts early next year. And businesses that are below the thresholds, below 1 million turnover or handling less than 25 tonnes of packaging don't need to register. So we move away from shared responsibility, which was the basis of the 2007 regulations, where from the manufacturing of material through to the seller, all picked up a share of that obligation. We move now to a single point of compliance, and mainly there's brand owner obligation, packer filler, importer, distributor, which actually covers conversion of packaging. They're classed as distributors, online marketplace, Amazon, and service providers. There's also a new selling obligation, which is to report where your packaging becomes waste that you supply to an end user, where in the UK is that ending up as waste. Packaging is defined as all products made of any materials of any nature to be used for the containment, protection, handling, delivery and presentation of goods. Packaging material types need to be separated out in returns, and these cover paper and cardboard, glass, aluminium, steel, plastic, wood, fibre composite materials, and other such as inks, glues, Hessian sacks, a variety of things. Now, it will be important in EPR to understand the packaging level, so the packaging, the type that you have. So primary or point of sale packaging is defined as packaging around a single sales unit. Secondary or outer packaging is grouping a number of sales items together. Shipment, this is a new area, and this is an Amazon box or similar, so it's online or mail order packaging. And tertiary or transit packaging, essentially, that's pallet level packaging. You also need to identify what type of waste your packaging is likely to become. So is it household waste or non-household waste, street bin, drinks containers, reusable or self-managed waste? You need to identify between household or non-household. So household essentially is point of sale packaging or shipment packaging, but it's packaging that's not removed by a business, it's packaging that will be removed by a consumer. And non-household, typically outer and transit packaging, you would need to evidence that. An invoice to a business customer would be that evidence. And it's essentially packaging removed by a business. So how does it affect sheep plants? What are you actually going to need to report? UK-sourced raw materials. So this is packaging that's carrying your materials. There's no obligation to report UK-sourced materials. If you import materials, you will be obligated on the packaging that's carrying that board into the UK, that you are then the end user of, typically pallets, pallet wrap, strapping, etc. You will also, as a distributor under EPR, be required to pick up the obligation of packaging that is sold to a business who is not a large producer. So any customer who has a turnover of less than 2 million and that handles less than 50 tonnes of packaging. You would not be required to report all the packaging that you supply to large producers who fill that packaging. For the packaging you do report, you would need to include any separable components, for example, stitching wire. You would include glues and inks as part of the board weight. You need to determine whether the unfilled packaging is intended for point of sale or shipment to end users, so declared as household packaging, or whether it's outer or transit packaging to businesses, where it would be non-household. So you would report the total weight of the board used in production, add in any additional components you use in conversion, deduct raw material production losses, and all unfilled packaging supplied to large producers, and then split that between household and non-household. You will also be required to report the packaging that you're adding to your finished goods to ship them to your customers, and you would need to declare is that branded or unbranded packaging. So for large producers, the reporting will be required every 6 months. The old regulations was an annual basis, but we moved to 6 monthly reporting. Placed on market data, or the seller obligation, won't start until 2025. So at this point in time, businesses should have already submitted H1, the first half of 2023, and H2 of 2023. The deadlines were initially 1st of October for H1 and 1st of April for H2. Those were actually moved to the 31st of May. And businesses should now be working on collating that first half of 2024, which will have a deadline of the 1st of October this year. So PRNs will remain with your, either if you're a direct registrant, your responsibility to purchase is offset, or your compliance scheme will purchase PRNs to offset all of the obligations that are calculated within your return. If you have household packaging declared in your return, the cost of that will be invoiced directly by a scheme administrator and paid directly to them. Now, those fees were supposed to have been published in the spring, but due to the election, they've been delayed. So companies need to assess the packaging that goes through their business and determine the activity type, the packaging material, the packaging type, and the end-of-use type. So these are all the different activities. These are the materials that are required. The packaging type determines whether it's primary, secondary, tertiary, and end-of-waste life, is it household, non-household, or reusable. So in summary, which producer activities relate to your business? Are you a packer filler? Are you an importer? Are you a distributor, i.e. selling empty packaging to businesses that are below the thresholds in their own right? I've just mentioned that, but is your customer determining whether your customer is a small or large producer? And what type of waste will the packaging that you're supplying become? Will it be business waste or will it be household? You need to record packaging weights in kilograms by material type to the nearest gram. and record the packaging type, primary, secondary, shipment or tertiary. And that's it from me. Thank you very much. Sorry if I whizzed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.